Hi everybody, this is Lonnie. Today on this video we're going to show you how to, just a couple tips and tricks to get your image aligned. Usually if you do a small piece of wood and you go to the software and do it, you can see all four corners of the wood, and finding center visually is usually not that big of a deal. The problem that you run into is when you get bigger pieces like 12 by 15 or bigger, sometimes you lose edges, and then when you visually try to put your object in the middle, you end up high, low, it depends on where it is. But this is going to be some tricks to get that problem solved. As you see right now, I've got a 12 by 16 sheet in here. With the line on, you can see a little bit, but on each corner there's a penny. Okay, right in the snuggled up against the corner, in all four corners is a penny, all on the wood, and you can see everything fine. So now I'm going to stop. I'm going to switch over to the software, and I'm going to show you where you run into a problem. Okay, here we have an image up on the board, and in the software they got these little squares. And if you want to, you can count these little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So left to right, we're about centered. Then count it from the bottom. You're going to have like 4.5 here, and from the top, you're going to have 4.5 here. The only problem is if you look at the pennies, there's the whole penny. That's only half a penny. So if I was to print that on that board, we're going to be off by 1.5 squares, 1 square, something like that. And again, this isn't a full-size piece. Where I've had 12 by 18 sheets, and lining it up without doing some of these tricks is kind of tough. So what we need to do is we need to figure out where the center is on our graphic, and we need to find out where the center is on our board. And there's a couple ways to do that, and we'll start getting into that right now. Okay, so here's the image settled in the middle of the work area, and we know when you click on the image up here at the top under scale, it shows that it is 260 millimeters by 160 millimeters. So what we want to do is find an easy way to put this image on this board and put it in the center. Now we can come onto the board and we can find the center and we can put a mark, or however you end up, you find the center of the board and mark it. The only problem is now when we put the image here to try to find the center, you're not going to be able to see that mark. But there's an easy way to do that. With our image, knowing the size of it, we come over here to rectangle, and we're just going to draw a rectangle. Half of the 260 is 130, and the other dimension, the other dimension was 160. Half of it is 80. Okay, so now we have a square that's 130 by 80, and what that basically is that is a quarter of the image. And as you see, I drag this over the top of the image, and once I get to this corner, it automatically shows crosshairs and where the center of that image is on the graphic. So I'm going to flip back over here to the board, and I'm going to find center on the board, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so what I did is I went over to the machine, I physically measured where the center of that board was, and then I put the washer on it. I use the washer. You can use a penny. You can put a pencil mark on there and take it off later. I would put nothing permanent on there. If you're going to try to do something with the piece afterwards, it's trying to get rid of it's tough. But now I'm going to come over to this square that we made, and I'm going to set it right there in the center of that washer. Okay, so now we know that 1/4, that's centered. We're going to grab our image and bring it back over, And as the upper left hand corner of that image touches the upper left hand corner of that square that we made, the cross hatches appear and the center of the image is shown. Okay, so now that we know that that is exactly in the center, this next important step, and I try to do this with everything that I do, once you think you've got everything lined up the way you want to do it, then do your autofocus. When you calibrate your camera on the Wecreat Vision, it does the low, medium, and high calibration because it changes the perspective of the image. And so if you watch the board, sometimes it'll change when you do the autofocus. It changed the tone, but it didn't change the position any. It's still pretty much in the center, so we're good. Do not forget that once you do this, you need to click on that the rectangle that you made and delete it. Otherwise, you're going to have a triangle or a rectangle in the middle of your image. Okay, so that's lined up and it's ready to go. There's a couple other variations on the way to find that center. I tape measured and did it. You can take a shoestring and go from corner to corner to corner to corner and find the center that way. There are other ways, but making a rectangle and then doing it off of that gives you a more visual view of doing it. It's like I said, because once you find that center, you can't lay the image on top of it and figure out where it is. Wecreat does not have, that I'm aware of, a transparency to where you can fade it, find the center, and then put it back up to full image. Okay, so we print it, we'd be done, and there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Like, comment, and follow. And with this video, in addition to the others, I hope that helps you too, and have a good day.